joining Clubhouse as an artist, as a visual artist in this time, 2021. You may be thinking, there are so many apps out there already. I'm really pulling up my hair, going gray, thinking, how am I going to use all of these apps to, and you still want to make your art, that's your big passion. Those are very good questions. So hopefully I'm going to help you distill a little bit about that information so that you can make some wise decisions, whether that's something for you and something that you can use to communicate about your art, connect with potential buyers, connect with potential an audience, maybe get a new audience. But let's break it down before I ask Parissa in the session, just a brief overview of what Clubhouse actually is. You can, of course, use that comment area. We'll be opening the floor up for questions, so you can use that area to ask your questions. Clubhouse, that's the icon that you'll see if you download the app. Then this is the icon that you'll be clicking on your mobile or your iPad, and then you get access to the app. It is an application, and it's called a drop-in audio chat. So it's something that's just audio based, and it's you can drop in and drop out, so you don't have to subscribe or to join in for a room or for a club. You do need, of course, to have the app. So it's, as I see it, I'm exploring the app. It's sort of a combination between WhatsApp, where you can have groups, you'd make a group, and Instagram, where you can interact, you can like and follow one, or not like, or you can't like on Clubhouse, but you can follow each other. You have followers and you follow people. And it's like Zoom, but then only audio, because you can be in a group, you can be in a room together where you can talk with one another. So it's a sort of a combination. But there's a little bit of a catch, because, let me just go back. I think it's this one. The Clubhouse is still in beta form, so it's in test mode. I don't know if you can remember way back when Instagram started. Instagram was just on iPhones. The developers chose a platform, so they chose the iPhone. That's where they were going to be developing the app. So if you're on Clubhouse now, you are still in the test mode. I'm on the test mode, people that are active there. So it is still in the beta form. So that's important to know. It's just in incubation phase. So it's just started out. It's new and fresh, and that's why it's also exciting. People are really curious, where is this going? What is going to be happening with this? It's the community and the people that actually make the app, how you're going to use it to serve what your purposes are. So that's good to remember. So having said that, it's good also to remember that it's only available on invitation. So it's not something like now you can go to Instagram, you can download the app and you're on. You need to be invited. So this is their sort of step that they have also, I think, so it's on invitation. You need to only invite people that you know on your contact list, or people that contact, that you have contact with in your community, or people that contact you to have invitations. So it's on invitation only for the moment, and it's only on iPhone. So if you have an Android, I'm so sorry for this moment, it's not possible to use Clubhouse. But the developers are communicating, and they're saying this year they're going to do amazing, they're going to hopefully move past this test phase, and they're going to open up it to everyone, because that really is their intention. But just like Instagram, it also just started on the iPhone. Make sure that you have the right kind of iPhone. The really old ones, the app doesn't work. The software isn't compatible. And, if there's something that excites you after the session, there are, maybe you're friends with an iPhone, a second-hand iPhone. You don't need data for it. You just need Wi-Fi. So maybe you can use someone's iPhone for the time being, until it comes onto your Android phone. And of course, on your iPad, it's also possible. Some unique qualities of Clubhouse makes it different from other platforms. It's all live. So it's in the moment. There are no recordings that are being made. You are joining a room, and I'll explain a little bit more about that. And it's in the moment. So you join a room. That's why it's also you pop into a room, and you hear conversations. You can join the conversation or you can hear the conversation. No recordings. So just in the moment, people are talking to each other. And it's possible to engage on the go. Whereas when you're reading a blog or watching a video, you actually need to sit down, look at your screen. This is something that you can actually do on the go. This morning I was listening to a room so you're listening to like a podcast, but it was a guy who was doing, Tom, a Dutch guy, he was going for a morning walk, and he has a room all about morning walk and morning inspiration. So there were all kinds of people walking with Tom in all different places, having their morning walks, and they were talking and inspiring. It was the whole clue of that conversation. That room was to inspire positive vibes for the morning. So you can do it anywhere, whether you're walking, you're traveling. It's an app that's audio based. That makes a huge difference and far more accessible. And you're actually hearing someone, and hearing someone really adds personality. Like now, I'm really frustrated that, well, frustrated, big word, but you have the comment area to engage with me. And wouldn't it be great if we could hear one another, hear each other's voices, because that says so much about you, your personality, your intonation, how you communicate, and what you have to say. That's so much easier to communicate the things that you're passionate about talking than having to write it in comment area. So that really is a advantage, that you can actually hear one another. And it's a place where you're sharing value. So I found social media quite flighty. There's a lot of stuff on Facebook, on Instagram. People are either it's sponsored, or there's ads, or it's very short, the descriptions. So there's a certain level of communication. But I found going into a club, a room, going into a space where people are talking, you really have the time to talk things through. What do you think about this? Or what do you think about this art movement? Or what do you think about the future of the gallery? What do you think about the future now in COVID time with the creative industry? So these talks that you can have with one another, which is very inspiring. It's not just a blog someone's writing, it's interactive. It's a conversation that you're having. And it's a place of connection. So what's cool about it is that in your bio you can put, so there's a profile that you can make. I'll show you little slides with it, and then you can add your URL, not of your website but of your Insta if you're on there, or Twitter. So those are the two choices. And then you say, great that I met you in this room, let's talk about it. Just DM me if you want more information, or what do you think about this? Or you mentioned something in the conversation, an app or a URL, please DM me and we can continue the conversation. So that is also really cool, that there is some kind of connection. You can continue the conversation. So sharing value, the depth that I already spoke about, and it's a place where people are generously sharing information. I think it's also very new. People are just like starved of connection, because we've all been in lockdown in one way or another, different countries. And we haven't been able to go to museums, to galleries, or to travel. And this is like the next best thing, because you're being able to connect with people on all kinds of time zones, with all kinds of interests, and from all kinds of countries. And if that's your thing, can be very inspiring. And also, we're all beginners. So we're all starting out. We're all, at the beginning. And so everyone's learning on the go, on the fly. So that's, it's not this established platform. Everyone's trying to find their way. And then having those DMs to continue the conversation. How to get started. So if you have that iPhone and it's compatible and you have an invite, then you can download the app. So you go to the App Store, you download it, and then there's possibility for you to have a link. So this is good for you to know if you want to go into Clubhouse or are on there and you want to share it on your social channels or on your website, where people can join your Clubhouse account. You go to clubber.one. That's the URL extension, and then you add your handle. So this is my Clubhouse handle, my URL for my Clubhouse. So if you want to follow me, then please go to this URL, and then we can connect also on the Clubhouse platform. So there is a possibility to have a link, to share your link. I know there's a lot of information coming your way, and I have made a handout. So this is a guide, the ins and outs of Clubhouse. Just put everything on paper so you don't have to write notes, frantically. I've just broken it down into simple little steps, how to get started, what are the advantages, why is it unique and special, and how can artists use it, and also just what do all those icons mean. So just to help you navigate around the app. So if you go to that URL, soniasmallhair.com/clubhouse, you will get access to the guide. And it's absolutely free. So no costs involved. You can download it. Let's start navigating around the app. So you have downloaded, say, and you have it on your phone, and then you open the app. So for you, if you're just starting out, Clubhouse will ask you, what are your interests, so that they can sort of send the algorithm in the right direction, what your interests are. I, of course, have already signed up, and this is where you'll come to the home page, in a manner of speaking, of Clubhouse. This is called the hallway. This is where you get the latest, what clubs are active at that moment and what's coming up. And then you'll see the navigation at the top of the different icons, which I'll explain briefly. And then at the bottom, if you want to go really wild and start your room straight away and get into a conversation, that's what this button down here is for. But we'll get to that in a little bit. So this is your hallway. This is where you'll end up, when you're pressing your icon, you get to the hallway. So this is where people are sort of meeting, and you can see, do I want to go to this lecture? Do I want to go to this talk? Do I want to go to this discussion? So you'll have the title, you see who's active, you can see how many people are actually in that group, in the room, and how many people are actually moderators talking, because you have an audience and you have a stage. And on the stage, people can have the possibility to unmute their mics and then join in the conversation. And here you can see this is for photographers, for models, for hair, for actors, for filmmakers. This is a special room that someone has started. It's got 262 people, and 58 people have the opportunity to talk in this session. There are even rooms that are going 24/7. So there are amounts, because of the different time zones, rooms that are just going day and night, which is also interesting. Conversations. This is the visual artist and creative talks, and more, just going on all the time. If you've got FOMOlitis like me, that's not always a fun thing. FOMOlitis, the fear of missing out, because I think, I would love to do this, I'd love to do that. You just have to chill. There will always be tomorrow, and there'll always be another session, and it's just on the fly having conversations. So if you have that FOMOlitis, chill out. There's always going to be content, and you get surprised by the things that you do come across. So let's just have a look at, hi Uta. Nice to have you in the group. These are some main icons that you'll come across in the hallway. If you've set up your profile, you'll see, we'll start with the magnifying glass. Here you can search for people, or you can search for clubs, or you can search on topics. So this is SEO friendly. So if you want to find an encaustic artist or anyone who's busy with making giant puppets like Carla, you can fill that in the group, or you have a special interest, or you have a special niche or genre, fill it in and by the magnifying glass, and you can find people or find clubs or find rooms, discussions with the magnifying glass, or find people. If you think, oh, is my friend Jane in the group, then you can fill it out there. Parissa, hi. She's going to be joining us in a few minutes. Good that you're here all the way from Canada. Let's move on to the envelope. This is a nice little hotspot where the invites get put. So the more active you are on Clubhouse, you earn invites. So you see a little sparkle there. That means that I have some invites available because I've been active. And then you get, usually on Wednesdays, I think I found that the invites get updated, and then I can start inviting people in my network again. So remember, it's invites based, and this is where you'll find it. You'll also find people that are in your contact form, because you ask, Clubhouse ask if they can access your contacts, and then you can see who in your contacts has not joined Clubhouse yet. And then you can invite them if you want them to be part of your community. So that's the envelope. The calendar icon, you find that there too. That's where all the planning happens. You can see what's been planned, where and when, and you can have a look and see, what clubs or what rooms do you want to follow. So the calendar is really important. And also, if you want to start your own room and want to schedule it, this is the icon that you'll use. But I'm going to just highlight that in a little bit. The bell is the notification. So if you get people that are starting to follow you, friends that are starting to connect with you, you can also activate this bell if friends, people that are following you and you are following them, are going online. You get a ping, you get a little notification. You can turn it off. I've chosen to turn it off because I already get so many pings and pongs and notifications. I've chosen, I'm going to actively look, when I want to go online. But this is a great, it could be something that gives you that reminder. Then the profile, it's like you have on Instagram or Facebook. You have an option to add a profile. Let's just have a look at that briefly. Unlike Instagram or Facebook, you have a huge amount of real estate to add a profile. You have not just those, few characters that Instagram gives you. You can write an elaborate profile. You add a photo, you have a handle, so the app's on your small here, you can use your name or your brand name. And then you can see who's following you, who you are following. So that's very similar to Instagram. And then you can write a bio. So you write a description of yourself. And this is what people will be reading, because as people are listening to conversations, they are clicking on your profile photo, and then they'll be seeing you. And the first 3 sentences are the most important. So you can use emojis. It's also keyword sensitive, so add those keywords. So if you want to be found in a certain genre, a certain art form, a certain interest, make sure you add them to your profile, because that magnifying glass, this is what it's going to be looking at. And those first 3 sentences are really important. So take some time to rewrite your bio so that people get an idea of who you are, what you're doing, why they should be following you, how you could connect or collaborate with one another. You can also add that to your bio. And I know Parissa can say a little bit more about that when she joins me, about, make it clear so that people know why they're following you. And then you can add your URL you can connect to your Instagram and to your Twitter if you're using, those platforms. So that's where you can continue the conversation. And that's great. You can't add your website. Of course, you can write it there, and people need to type it out again. But they can go from that little hack. You go from Clubhouse to Instagram, where the URL is of your web shop or of your website, wherever you want people to go, and then people can click on that. You have the whole setting. If you go to the little wheel, you go to the setting. You can say, how often do you want those notifications. You can pause your notifications. You can see the terms and conditions. So that's all for you to fill out. That profile is super important. That's where people are going to be seeing more about you. That's the only information that they have, and that they decide to follow you or not to follow you. This again is in the hallway. So remember, when you go into the app, you come into the hallway, and then you see what rooms are active. What is going on? You want to join them straight away, then you can hit that little, I want to follow this artist lounge, then I can hit this part of the screen, and then I'm in the conversation. Well, I'm muted. If I'm in the audience, I'm muted automatically, and then I'm in the room, and I can hear straight away who's talking and get an idea of what the subject is. So that's in the hallway. And then if you're feeling really, really bold, you can start and you're ready, and you have prepared, you can start your own room. So this is a space online where people come and join your conversation. And then having a clear topic is super important. So if you click that button, you have some choices. You can add a title. You have to add a title, a topic. And the clue here is you have 60 characters to really make something catchy. And that's nice because all kinds of people are in that hallway. How do you get them from the hallway into your room? Just think of a building everyone is, walking in that hallway, and then which room are they going to choose? If you create a catchy title, you can get people into your room where you can moderate a conversation, and you can choose to keep it open. So anyone who's in the hallway will be able to see that, or social, so people that you are following can join the conversation, or keep it closed, and you can actually allocate, like you can do that with rooms in Facebook. You allocate people, those people are in the room, and then you can have a closed conversation. So there are options for you to choose, and then you press that button, and then your room goes live, and there's the opportunity for people to listen in. Remember, it's not recorded, it's in the moment. Even if you're having a bad hair day, it doesn't matter, there's no camera. You can just talk away, and you'll be the moderator, and then people will be joining, they'll be coming and going. This is sort of the anatomy of a room. So you'll have the title of the room, and the topic of the room, so that is this something that interests me? And then if you see these asterisks with the green dot around it, that means, like Melissa here is the moderator. So she has set up this room, and she has a co-moderator, which is really good to have, because especially have larger rooms, you need to sort of maintain order, keep on topic, unmute, mute microphones. So you need to be that multitasker. But if you're starting small, you just have 4 or 5 people from your art club, or from a community that you're in, or you just want to talk about certain subject, that can be really easy. You can be the moderator. And then you have the setting of the stage. So this is the top area, the stage area. So these are the people that have the ability to talk and to join the conversation, because the moderator can put on and off the microphone. If you come onto the stage, the tip is to switch your microphone off straight away, because you are active as you go onto the stage. So click off your microphone, and then when the moderator says, "Hey, Sonia, I see that you're on stage. What do you think about the future of art galleries in 2022? Maybe that's the subject." And then I have the floor, and then make it brief, get to the point, bring value to the conversation, and then you'll see people are starting to follow you, and you'll see your Instagram. People are on your Instagram account. People are following you on Instagram. There's really a very cool way of sharing information, because they have, or Twitter, if that's where you are. So that stage area, the moderator, you, of course, if you're in the audience, so that means your microphone's not on, you're just listening. So you're in like the auditorium, you're listening to a teaching, a lecture, a conversation, a debate. You also are, because it's just hearing, no one can see you. You can look on their profiles. You can see about, where are they hanging? What are they doing? Who are they following? What kind of art are they making? So you can really, look at their profiles and check out their Insta. So that's the stage, and that's the audience. That's the difference. And then at the end, at the bottom of the page, there's that peace sign. That means you can just leave. So you don't have to say, "I'm leaving." Unless you are the moderator, you need to stay. If you're in the audience, you can just say, "Okay, I'm leaving, time's up." Because some of these rooms, they go on forever. Just keep changing. As I said, some of them go 24/7. Some interesting rooms, and just to see how this platform is developing, is something I came across, and that was The Lion King. Of course, the theaters are closed on Broadway. There was no, there's no platform, and the cast of The Lion King made a room, and they performed the whole Lion King musical online. So there was the director, he was directing, so the moderator, and all the actors, they were singing, they were, talking, doing the whole script of The Lion King. This was a matinee. And then what I found interesting is that they've put here in the title that they were recording it. Clubhouse doesn't record. It's actually against the terms and conditions. You're not allowed to record. I don't know how they fixed that, but it's a great initiative, and it was an afternoon concert. So I'm finding also, I don't know about the people that are active on the app, is that the first adopters, so people that are really, in the front line, are using the marketeers, the people in communication, in public relations, that are out there, that are trying the app. They are, used to all that marketing content, And also the artists. I found there are a lot of artists, of course, don't have platforms anymore. They are finding this an amazing way to connect with one another. This was on Women's Day last week. There was a club that was, or a group room that started all about leading female artists, and there was a discussion going on. Also very interesting, and just like, oh, that's happening there, or that's happening there on that side of the world. That's I heard a story of, for example, of youth in Palestine not having, they don't have much material, they don't have access to galleries or to ways that they get their art out of the occupied area. And it was a group of skateboarders. It was a skateboarding project. And an initiate, he was on one of the platforms, on one of the rooms. He was saying like he has connections there in Palestine. And he was encouraging the young people to start designing their own skateboards, but the designs were on the skateboards. And these designs were then put into digital form and then sent to the US, where they were actually printed out on skateboards. They were then sold, and part of those, what the profit that was made from this project was sent back to Palestine, and they were funding all different projects and really helping people in need in the occupied areas. And it's like, wow, it was such an inspiring story, and I would never have heard of that because I would have to Google and search, and I just happened to upon that conversation. So if you want some inspiration, find the right rooms and you will learn and just be inspired. One of the clubs, so this is a club page. I can't start a club. You need to earn the right to start a club. But if you're active online, then they give you accessibility and you can start a club. A club has members, and members then can join rooms that the club organizes. So it's like we know of a club. So just to make the little connection with what does it mean for an artist and how can you use this space to your advantage. The club, this art gallery club, is a place to connect with art, connect artists with collectors, buyers, and curators. So they actively are calling collectors and curators onto this platform, into this club. And the moderators are opening up the floor for artists to share about their work. So you can use this URL. It's not a hyperlink, but you can just type that into your own own link, own URL, search engine, and then you can ask the moderator, I'd like to join a session. This is about me. You have to pitch yourself, so make sure your Insta's up to date, your Facebook, whatever platforms. People can have a look at your portfolio. They can see, do you have something to say, and is it relevant to the club? And then the chances are that you could be invited as a guest, as someone who could speak on the stage. And this was a room that the art gallery did last week, and it was a live art auction. And they were calling for the buyers and the collectors in the hallway to come because there was a live auction, and it went on for hours. And people had applied, artists had applied to the moderator beforehand, telling them that they want to sell a piece for auction. So they had it ready, they were prepared, and one by one, these artists were called onto the stage, just like you see here. Dominique was moderating, and he was calling people onto the stage, and they could pitch their work. They could explain about their work, and I've really thought that this is how artists and people are using the platform. Say, for example, George, he was there in the room. George wanted to sell one of his pieces. He gave a short pitch. My name is George Groves. I'm from south of London, and I have this piece, and he shared a little bit about the piece. But of course, it's an audio platform, so how do you share your work? The pieces that he had for sale, he changed his profile photo. So every time he changed his profile photo, and that was one of the pieces that he was wanting to put up for auction. And then he said, if you go to my Insta feed, and everyone was like, go to the Insta feed, in the second frame, that's you'll see another painting. It looks a lot like that. So people had reference photos, and you could use the profile area and your Insta to bring people to spaces. And in this case, in George's case, you could contact him about the pricing. But there were other pieces like this Bernard Beckford from the Bronx, who was a digital artist. It was actually, he was putting it up for sale and people could vet on it and bid on his art pieces. And I've heard some amazing stories how artists are generating income this way. So have a look if you are in Clubhouse or thinking about joining Clubhouse. This is a wonderful way not only to listen to people talking about art, remember how you describe, how you pitch in your work, you need to now you do it in words, concise, compact, and get people excited about the things that you are excited about. So this is an opportunity. And then there's rooms where artists can network and collaborate and talk about projects. And yesterday I also heard a professor, he was in one of the rooms and he was saying how the artists are having a tough time, that there's a new awareness and appreciation for art because, it's not accessible. We need to make it more accessible to the public. And he was saying how the university where he works as an art lecturer, they were opening up all the art lectures, not only to the students of the university, but for the community, so that everyone in the community who wanted to learn something about art could join a lecture. And whether that was online or offline, depending where they are in the pandemic, I thought, wow, amazing. Now they're starting to educate the public about what art is, what is good art, where can you find it, just to give people that information. So it's not something closed that you need to join a certain program to learn about art. They were opening it up for the public. And then that was so inspiring just to hear, and it gives you just hope and insight. And I think as an artist, it's good to know what's happening out there. You won't be able to get everything. Remember FOMOlitis? You won't be able to get it all. These are not recorded sessions, but it is very inspiring. And then there was another session also about the future of the art galleries and how gallerists were looking at the future, making that transition between the offline and online space. Good information for artists to know. So what is happening in the gallery world? Usually you'd never hear them. You maybe read a blog or you need to go to an art fair to engage with the gallerist, but now they were opening up the floor. You could ask questions. There were artists, there were curators, and there were gallerists, and then you can follow them. So if someone inspires you, like this Cam, he already has 3.4K followers, so he is on his way. And he's active in New York, in Basel, Miami, with different art fairs. Now you have access to his DM. You can say, Cam, I just heard you on Clubhouse. Interesting what you were saying. What do you think about this and this and this? No guarantees that he'll reply, but you have a direct access now to someone who's an influencer in a certain genre, in a certain field of expertise. So that's really cool about the platform. I think it really, if you want to connect, if you want to communicate with people, find inspiration, this really will help you. Parissa, are you still there? I'd love to welcome Parissa to this session, because Parissa is the one that invited me to Clubhouse a few weeks ago, and I see that she's really discovering new places, new areas in Clubhouse. She's an artist, she's an engineer, so she knows both sides, the front end and the back end. And I'd love for you to come on stage with me in the session, Parissa, and you can share your insights. I'd love to hear how you are navigating Clubhouse and what it could mean for artists. So please join me. I'm just going to get rid of this. And you're welcome to join. And also please use that commentary for the people that are watching. You can use the commentary so that person I could answer your questions.
Hi.
Yeah. Good to have you in the session.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here. Sorry, I'm just like, do you have my audio?
I can hear you.
Okay, awesome.
I can see beautiful beret. He's so chic.
Thank you. I really resonated with what you were saying about having a bad hair day. So
Let's pack it all away.
yeah.
Yay for Clubhouse.
Yeah, yeah. Which is one of the great things about Clubhouse, because in Clubhouse, you don't have to worry about any of that. You can just be joining a call right when you're, like, lying in bed.
Yeah, that's a big thing. But please, Marissa, just tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you're doing, where you are, just so that we can get some context of who you are.
Yeah, yes, definitely. Thanks for having me. I'm Parisa Gulchubian. I'm an artist and web designer, engineer, a bunch of titles from Toronto, Canada. And yeah, I've been really enjoying Clubhouse. It's just been somehow such a great platform, and I've been getting so much out of it that I find that I've been spending less and less time in other social media platforms, which I'm not sure is a great thing considering that like my Instagram is getting less love these days. But
Mhm.
I'm just getting it just shows how much I'm getting out of Clubhouse.
Mm, mm. Can you just tell us what your some of your aha moments? What have been the benefits for you on Clubhouse?
Yeah, when I first like I've been there mostly like when I first started there was through a friend of mine, Victoria. And we really liked having deep conversations about a bunch of things. And she kept telling me, Parisa, you really need to get on Clubhouse. And there's so much deep conversations that are happening there, and you can really like it can help your business. So yeah, that was like the main purpose was for business, although like I'm getting into so many rooms and just listening to so much stuff. But I found that like there's especially as you were mentioning, Sonia, there's like a special artist community there on Clubhouse that it's just so great to be part of. And there's just like there's a whole there's that sense of community where like people are getting together, they're talking, they're learning. Like I learned so much just like through listening to the rooms.
Mhm.
um like I was just thinking that like if it weren't for Clubhouse, I would have probably not ever learned about NFTs as much.
Mhm.
Like there's so many people that are talking about NFTs these days.
Yeah. Tell us briefly what an NFT is, because that really is going to be the future, especially in our digital
Mhm.
age.
Yeah, so an NFT is a non-fungible token. So it's essentially the next step in cryptocurrency. Like now they're talking about like you know how before like I'm not an expert, so like I feel I'm butchering the subject, but the whole idea is that now you can have art on the blockchain, which is where all the cryptocurrency stuff, like the Bitcoin stuff, is living. And so like artists are now having their art on the blockchain, and why that's important is that it's trackable. So people like an artist, like a painter, for instance, is putting like a say like I'm a painter because I'm on the process of minting one as well. You can take like a digital photo of your art and then you mint it, which is putting it on this blockchain. And now there's a special barcode associated, say, to this painting on the blockchain, and it becomes unique. So people are auctioning these arts on the blockchain, and sometimes they're selling at prices higher than the painting is itself, which is crazy in my head.
Yeah,
But
higher than the original, because this is like a limited edition digital form of the painting.
yes, exactly.
Mm,
And a whole world is opening up, and I'm seeing that like there's so much opportunity, especially for digital artists, which is awesome because I feel like digital art has always been the type of art that hasn't been receiving a lot of love. But
mhm,
through this way now, like a lot of the big players in the digital like in the NFT space are digital artists that are selling their art for pretty expensive prices,
mm,
which is great.
mm, mm. Yeah, so that's new insights and also something that I see on Clubhouse discussions about, because you don't have to have the dollar, the yen, or the euro. It's just a cryptocurrency that you can trade in. So it is a lot more safe. And there's a token, so you have secure. You can track your art actually, and people can start collecting and trading in your art form. So yeah, I think that we're going to be hearing a lot more about that in the future. What tips would you give? I know there are people here in the Facebook community also watching the replay. They want to start on Clubhouse. How could you get started? What would your tips be?
Yeah, so I would just say like just join rooms. and listen to conversations. And there's a community, but there's also such an opportunity, as you were mentioning, Sonia, for selling art. Like I have been, um, so you can both like join rooms on art, like where artists are just like talking and they're like sharing tips and tricks and just like mentioning what the latest is and all that. But there's also, you can just go to other rooms, which I have been doing. And like every once in a while, I pop on stage, I talk a little bit about how I'm an artist from Toronto. And then one of the really neat things about the platform is that I feel it's almost like, because it doesn't have DM, I kind of like it that way. I hope they don't change it because it's just not one more place you need to check. It's just, it kind of feels like a gateway to your Instagram in some sense. And that when you talk about your art, people click on your Instagram link to go and see it. And then it's been great. Like I've had so many people, like I've been able to add to my following on Instagram because of Clubhouse,
Mm,
which is funny.
yeah.
And yeah, so like I've been just talking about my art in like non-art related clubs. And I've already like been receiving a lot of questions about like whether I can do commissions and like how I sell my art. So it kind of like feels that it's opened a lot of doors
Mm,
for art selling as well as just learning and
right.
chilling and like all that stuff, which Clubhouse is obviously very good for.
Yeah, yeah. So you actually join rooms that are sort of interest, but not specifically art rooms, but where there's like a common interest, a hobby, or something that you're passionate about, and then you get an opportunity to talk that you are the artist, that you love making your art, etc. And then people have been DMing you for inquiries.
Yeah, yeah, and it's just like it's been growing organically in all directions, which is great because it's such a new platform that I feel it hasn't been exploited in that sense. So like so everybody is still very authentic on the platform. So like people are being themselves, they're just talking and voice is much less filtered than when you write a text or a caption or something like that. So you
Mm,
get to see the real side of people. Um, and yeah, there's like I've been there like talking about my art and getting questions on Instagram and followings on Instagram. I also run a web design agency for artists. So I build websites for artists. So that has also been like really helping me because I've been just like joining these art rooms and every once in a while there's a question about like a website and all that and I've been getting clients through that route as well. So it's been all around, it's been really helping me.
for sure, yeah. So then just quickly, I didn't touch on this very much. How do you get onto the stage? So you're in this room, you talk in the conversation. What do you then do?
Yeah, so it's a good question. So when you're in the audience, well, like first of all, like you can join any room that's in the hallway, or you can like join through a link that someone has shared. Like I share all the rooms that I host on my Instagram, so people could just like click on the link and join the room directly. But once you're in the room and you're in the audience, you can raise your hand, and then the moderator would allow you to come on stage, and then you can just talk. And a lot of times like the rooms that I host like are pretty small and like I kind of have that cozy feeling. So everyone that joins, I just like invite them right away to come up stage and like introduce themselves, like talk a little bit about where they are. And sometimes people decline, which is an option. You can say like no, I don't want to talk. And it's not rude, nobody gets offended.
That's the thing. Yeah, yeah. So it's
But yeah, if you just like if there's an interesting talk and you have something to share, you can just like raise your hand and you can go to the stage and share your perspective on it.
mm, mm.
Mm.
And how? Because I know you host a few rooms. How do you go about, not the whole technical side, but choosing a subject? How do you go about setting up a room that's interesting for people?
Yeah, so we're all new to this. The platform is new, so we're also like trying things out. But the one that the one that my friend Victoria and I host weekly is called "Are You Hiding as an Artist?" And we had this intention of just talking about mindset stuff and how artists are sabotaging themselves and their art because of like their fear of imposter syndrome and all that stuff. And it's been such a great platform, Clubhouse, for this type of talk because and the group is small enough that people just share. And we're all strangers in the sense that we don't know each other. So everybody's like very comfortable talking about like their fears and we've been just supporting each other. And so like it's been getting a lot of love.
Mm,
Um But yeah, like we tried a few subjects. We for the same purpose, we tried a few subjects until we found that like right headline where like resonated with people, which was like, "Are you hiding as an artist?"
Mm.
And a lot of people just joined the room because they're so intrigued by the title. They're like, "Oh my god, like yes, this made me realize I am." And
Yes.
so yeah.
Title is super important because that's what needs to bring people from the hallway into your room, and then to address that subject or topic.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mm.
and it's and once people start following you on Clubhouse, because like the whole purpose of following on Clubhouse is a little different from Instagram. Um, People aren't trying to like get more followers. Well, like everybody's trying to get followers everywhere, but when you follow someone in Clubhouse, it's for the matter of like knowing when they host a room.
Mm.
So it's usually like you have the bell icon and you get a notification when somebody hosts a room. So if people just like your vibe, like what you're talking about, they just follow you so that they get a notification when you start a room. So
Mm.
it's pretty easy to get followers in that sense and just get notified. So like once I because I do pop-up rooms here and there as well. Like I do a pop-up room that is excuse me, that is just like I give website audits to artists. So
Mhm.
like artists just join and I just like talk about their artist, their website, what they can improve, what they like, all that stuff.
Mhm.
And these are people that have like been following me through my other groups that I host.
Mm.
They get a notification every time a pop-up room happens. So
Mhm.
there's a lot of things you can do. Really, like the opportunities is limitless.
Yes. Yeah. Wow. Any reason not to join Clubhouse?
um, I can't think of one. For the first few weeks, it was really addictive. Like I found that I wasn't doing much
No
except for
art
just
happening?
but I think like after a while I got a like hang of like what rooms I like and don't like. So
Yeah, just getting clear, very, and yeah, so it's more filtered and intentional, so that
yeah.
you do stay the artist. Yeah. Any questions from the audience for Parissa? Just please put them in the comments because I don't know what's happening here off the stage. If people have questions, then please throw them in the comment area.
Yeah,
And
so somebody asked if you can DM people actually on the site or Instagram. I think I answered this already, but the app doesn't have DM at the moment, which I think is a great feature because it's one less place you need to check. So when somebody actually likes something, they DM you on Instagram. So it like goes the whole circle of like now you're getting more followers on Instagram and people are seeing your art. And if you're like a visual artist like I am, that's what you want ultimately.
mm,
That's a good thing.
yeah, Carla says it sounds really nice, especially for non-exploited styles. Carla, I'm not exactly sure what you mean, but Carla says, "What is DM?" Carla, I'm gonna just phone you and just give you a little bit of internet one-on-one. Not a problem. That's like a where you're communicating, so it's direct messaging. That's what DM is standing for. Good that you asked the question. It's a great way to communicate. I'm gonna send you a DM. Anya says, "I'm just wondering if you know if this app will be available for Android and when."
There's a lot of rumors. I don't know. I follow the founder on Twitter, and he tweets a lot about this as well.
Mhm.
So, like he was saying in a few weeks, but then you don't know. They were also talking about like adding recording. I don't know what that happened. So it's so new that we don't really know. We're just waiting to see.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I guess yeah. I hate for it to be so exclusive at the moment,
Yeah.
but maybe that is also bringing the fact that like everybody on there, it's such a small group, so it's like easy to find your community.
Mm,
So that's how I try to think of it.
yeah.
Glass half full.
Glass half full. It can go both ways. And as I said, I've had friends too. They are using iPhones of friends because they want, especially certain kinds of friends. They update their phones like every new Siri, and then they have two phones lying around the house. So maybe, oh, Siri, did you hear Siri? No, Siri.
Yes.
No, it's not you. I mustn't say that word, the S word. but that you could use a phone from someone else. So at least now I'm finding too, as you say, it's not being exploited. There's not so much static in the app. So it's still very discovering. People are very generous. I found, connecting with amazing people that I've never been able to get to, with curators and museum directors, and everyone is there also just trying to find their way, and then you can have those little conversations and ask your questions. So is really accessible. Any more questions from the group, Parisa? I don't know if you have anything more to add or would like to say before we end off. I really would like for you to share where you are and where people can come and join your groups and where to find you. But just see if there's any questions out there. Carla's going to try this. Yeah, Carla, there's really something for you. You've got lots to share. You've got a community. So I think a lot of your friends are on there too. So Carla, go for it.
I just wanted to say that kind of reminds me of the early days of Facebook. I don't know if you guys remember, but like with the early days of Facebook, everybody was sharing their status, to just like what they were up to, and it wasn't like it is today. So this kind of reminds me of that, and I really enjoy it at the moment. It could change, I think it will. It's just like a matter of every app that just like hits the market. It takes its time to mature into what it ends up to be. But I'm enjoying the early adopter phase of it, and I think like you guys will too. So like, what do you have to lose? Just give it a try.
Yeah. I have a good question for you also, Parisa, because you are an engineer, so you also know the back end of how things develop. Maria says, do you know how secure all the data is that you share on Clubhouse?
That's a good question. So I don't know. I hadn't looked into it, but considering that they're becoming a unicorn, I'm assuming that they're pretty secure at the moment. And the fact that like they don't have recording really at the moment. So like it's not like your data is getting recorded. Like it's not like what you're saying is getting recorded somewhere.
Yeah.
But again, we'll have to see. It's a very small startup at the moment, so it's hard to tell.
Yeah. And what did you mean they're a unicorn? Is that some kind of...
Yeah, that's like TikTok. I'm sorry.
Did I miss something?
So like in the tech world, whenever a startup like it has the potential to hit 1 billion, they're usually called a unicorn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
the size of the following.
Okay. Yeah, so it's like $1 billion in like market value.
Wow.
As in like Instagram, Facebook, like all these like big guys are like...
They're the unicorns.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any advice, Parisa? Do you also advise on websites like mine? It's a Dutch website. I don't know how good your Dutch is.
Yeah, sorry, my Dutch is, I don't speak Dutch, but I can definitely give you some feedback on like the general look and like your design and all that. But like for the copyright, I'm probably not that helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, Parisa, please just tell us where where people can find you. Just tell us a little bit what you can offer, also about your rooms, about where they can find you on Clubhouse.
Yes, definitely. So I'm on Instagram at Parisa Fine Arts. It's Parisa it's spelled like Paris plus an A. And then Fine Arts. You can find links to my websites on there, and I even like share my Clubhouse rooms on there. So like you can find me, you can go in all directions from there. If you want like specifically, if you need help with your website, my website is parisawebdesign.com. And on Clubhouse, I'm P-Gol. That's P-G-O-L. Simple and like tiny. So you can definitely, I'd love to connect with you guys. And I offer free consultations for your website and all that. So like, let me know if you need help. And there's another question. Do you also advise on websites like mine? In WordPress? So I design websites in all platforms, but I usually, when it comes to like advising people, I usually tell artists that if you want to sell, try Shopify. It's just such an easy platform to manage when you're doing e-commerce. And so like that's like my personal advice, but I like my own selling art, like my own website that is not my art website. My art website is on Shopify, but the other websites that I have are usually on WordPress. And I've been recently exploring Webflow, so like all sorts of platforms. But yeah, so like let me know if you guys need help.
See if we missed anything.
I think we got it all.
Got it all?
Yeah.
Marissa, thank you. We need to do this again.
We should. Yeah, this was so much fun. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, what a pleasure. Thank you for sharing your expertise. I'll be following along through the rooms and through Clubhouse, and also through the other social channels. And just wish you a wonderful day. You're just starting off.
Yeah, it's pretty early. It's like still 9 in the morning right now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Have a wonderful day, Marissa.
Thank
And
you.
we'll keep in touch.
Thank you. Yeah, for sure. See you guys on Clubhouse.
Yay! Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, guys, so that's Parissa. Wonderful to be able to share this stage with each other. And please go and follow her. As I mentioned, that I do have a resource for you, so you can go to. Oh, first, before the resource, I did see that there was some asking for Clubhouse invites. I do have Clubhouse invites available because you showed up live. I would love to make these accessible to you. So if you want me to invite you, please send me a DM on Instagram. I do need your phone number, your cell number, because that's where they are, or how you connect with your mobile phone. So you'll just DM me and your mobile phone number, and then I will send you that invite. You'll get it in your phone, and then you can hook up and get sorted. So the first 5, because I just have 5 at the moment, just send me that DM. Also, people listen to the replay. When they finish, they're done. Please don't be angry if I don't give you the invite. I can put you on like a wait list. So if I do get the invites again, then you are first in line. So that I wanted to share. And please, if you want to get all the terminology, how to navigate around the app, I have made this worksheet, this guide for you, the ins and outs of Clubhouse. You can go to soniasmallhere.com/Clubhouse, and you can download that. It's for free, and just to help you navigate around. So that's all for the session. Thank you so much for being here for this live session. Also, Parissa, all the way from Canada. Hope to see you in the Facebook community. All of you, if you have any questions, also if you're watching the replay, just add them to the comments or write it in the post. This community really is there to help one another, to grow, to develop, to find out what's possible. And have a wonderful day. See you next time. Bye-bye.